to start. We'll talk about code or whatever we'll talk about today. It's about to start, so please hang tight while I check that everything is okay. Sound check, camera check, lights check. How's my hair? Oh, wait, I don't have any hair. Maybe put some pants on and I am good to go. So get ready wherever you are, 'cause this stream is about to start. Get ready wherever you are, 'cause this stream is about to start. Hello everyone and welcome to another meeting of the C++ Digital Signal Processing JUCE and plenty of other things study group. We are still in this janky setup. I think it is going to be good enough. I forgot to press the button actually. Now everyone can say hello. How is everyone doing?
Hey.
Hey.
We're okay.
We're okay. We're okay.
We are all hanging in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no.
We're gonna
Is the
use
stream live? I haven't gotten a notification for.
Yeah, the stream is live.
Yeah, it is live. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, check this out. We are here.
Oh yeah.
On the internet. Isn't that crazy?
There it is.
All right. So, who was able to do some C++ or anything related to digital signal processing these 2 weeks?
Cwits. I'm going to throw you under the bus.
Okay, I can start, but there is nothing much fancy things happening around because I'm like writing 10 lines of code in 2 weeks.
I don't believe you. It always starts like that and then you have something amazing. I don't believe you.
You can not believe me, but this is true. So yeah, but I have one question that is worrying me for plenty of time. So the question is, how much GUI interface should be connected with the backend stuff in application? Like, should it be two separated things as much as they could be separated, or they should be tied together like one strong monolith, and I can't figure out that by myself. So yeah.
Not sure I understood that, but go on.
Can you perhaps give us some more context? Because we know that you're probably talking about the project in the Raspberry Pi, and then the user interfaces on Ableton Push, and then I'm not even sure how the two parts communicate. So can you give us a bit more context?
No, actually, I'm talking about Qt and the regular display user interface, because as I told in a previous meeting, I'm playing around with the Qt and
Okay.
I can't really understand how to say that. I can't understand, should I rewrite everything in Qt style and make it more like connected together, or can I make things more separately, like independent backend and Qt GUI interface and connect them somehow with a tiny interface that will be between them.
Maybe you can show us like one button and how it would be implemented using the monolith approach and the decoupled approach. Did you explore something like that?
As an example, there is couple projects in GitHub, as I mentioned earlier, like QTractor and LMMS. They both written in Qt, and looks like it works more like monolith system.
Well, one thing is for sure, you definitely want to have two separate threads or separate processes, or I don't know exactly how the architecture is gonna fall out, but you definitely want different execution contexts for user interface and audio processing, because they have different requirements. The audio processing needs to happen in real time, and the user interface is lower priority, right? So I think that is something to consider, but I suppose that in this context, it is possible to do a monolith that has two separate threads, right?
Yeah, I think you're right, and definitely audio processing stuff should be in a separate thread because it requires mostly real-time behavior. But yeah, it looks way more difficult than I expected.
And I guess the principled approach would be to decouple things, but it tends to be simpler to have everything at your fingertips, so it tends to be easier to do monoliths, and I like them. I am very much a monolith kind of person. I tend to resist putting abstractions as much as possible. So in the abstract, without code samples to look at, I would say go for monolith, and it seems like you have some social confirmation as well, because there are other projects doing this. And it tends to be the case that as long as you're working on the thing by yourself or on a small team, it is better to have a monolith, because everything is just nearby and you know the whole system anyway. So if we don't have like example code that we can look at, maybe side by side, and then it tends to be easier to compare things this way. But in the abstract, I would say go for monolith. How does that sound?
It sounds pretty good, and to be honest, it looks like it should be like that. But I don't know why I have doubts about that.
Perhaps because it is the more principled approach to have some kind of decoupling, and then you could imagine maybe in the future writing other user interfaces for the same backend, and that is a nice thing as well. That's something that, for instance, JUCE promotes. It tries to separate the user interface from the audio processing in different classes, different files, and then you could, in theory, take your processing and put different user interfaces on it. So it could be, if it's something that you can imagine yourself wanting to do in the future, that could be an argument in favor of decoupling. I would still start with a monolith, though.
But still, I'm thinking that JUCE also works more like monolith program, where inside the JUCE everything is tied together, and to be honest, you can't separate as easy as it could be. I don't know really. I'll also start thinking what I'm doing and maybe screw everything up and start doing JUCE.
Do you think you could run JUCE in the Raspberry Pi?
I don't know.
I am almost certain that you can, but
Probably yes, but
okay.
as far as I want normal graphical user interface suited for 7-inch display, then I assume that JUCE is not suitable for that.
Maybe the stock components would be too large for that kind of display?
Maybe too small, and the behavior would be more suited for mouse and keyboard. But in a Qt, you can do it more like for touch screens. Like if I will do it with JUCE, and okay, why I'm working more than 1 year for some, I don't know, random things when I can waste the time on some audio programming. Also a good question. Yeah.
Well, I guess we all shared this mindset of enjoying the time and smelling the roses and not necessarily like working on the project to make a lot of money and ship it as soon as possible. So it's okay.
It's not about money, but it's more about myself, because people tends to have things yesterday, not someone after 5 years.
Fair point.
Couple life questions that I can't find answers. Yeah, cool.
Well, here is my suggestion then. Try to do the thing I mentioned. Try to find or create an example code like with one button that is in the monolith approach and another that is in the decoupled approach. And then I think that in the process, you will find the answer. It will become obvious to you which one you prefer.
Yeah, that could work. I will try, obviously, this way. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
But suddenly, guys, sorry, that's all that I can offer you today.
Don't be sorry, it's great. And it is this kind of architectural conversation that I like to have. So I appreciate the conversation.
It depends on what to compare. If I compare myself to myself past year, yeah, then I'm doing nothing basically. It's not that what I want, but it is how things is.
Hey, don't beat yourself up too much.
I'm trying, but it's not so easy.
I know.
You get back to it. Don't worry.
So
Don't beat yourself up, like Leandro said. Don't beat yourself up over it.
It is some, in quotes, healthy self-criticism.
All right.
You'll get.
So yeah. So somebody other want to share?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
First of all, I didn't mention it in the start of the stream, but I am suffering from COVID again. Thankfully, it's not as serious as the last time, which was last July. And we did a stream back then too, right? So COVID can never stop me from being a part of the study group. Anyway, I'm gonna share my screen because I do have some stuff to show.
Okay.
1 sec.
Yeah,
share my
and
computer sound.
hi, Tail.
Oh, hey, Tail.
Hello, Tail.
So yeah, first of all, I didn't get to work in Lua because I had a massive headache. But remember that virtual keyboard map that we were talking about that mimics the one in Ableton? Well, Ed Kaczynski, who makes the Ableton scripts, already made one, so you can have this. I'm gonna paste this in the chat so you can add it in the study group notes on GitHub.
Sure.
And I tried it and it works super well. Just remember to have your enter node C, because I made a mistake. Hold on, I'm gonna load the Reaper to show you the mistake I made. So this I accidentally had my center node set to A instead of C. I don't know why. Maybe it was a misclick, and so the keyboard map was out of whack. So remember to set it as C. Anyway, so I didn't work in Lua, but I didn't want to come into the stream empty-handed. So instead, I was ping-ponging ideas in my head. And I thought, well, let's go back to HISE. And I made a synth.
Nice.
Yeah, I cannot build it yet because there is a bug. I think I made a mistake when building the latest version of HISE. I think I used the wrong producer settings for a dependency that Intel thing. That IPP, that Intel thing that makes the convolution reverb work, and this thing is using the convolution reverb. But I'm gonna try rebuilding HISE with Visual Studio tomorrow. But I can still show it to you and how it works. It's completely functional, and it's called Wild. I wanted to make like an 8-bit chiptune synth, but not in the style of totally accurate Game Boy or NES simulations. Instead, I wanted to make something completely dirty and ugly and experimental. And it sounds like this. It has this tail that I really like. I'm gonna make an option to disable it in the future, but I really like how it sounds right now.
It almost has a vocal quality to it. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit vocal, yeah. So this picture, I made it using Midjourney.
And I was going to say that. Did you use Midjourney for that?
Yeah, except for this Wild, I typed it in Photoshop.
And
this, I extended the image in Photoshop using the content-aware tool, which is content-aware field, sorry. Now, let's see what's going on under the hood.
Oh, hang on. How can you tell, Bo, that this was generated by Midjourney?
I've done so many AI images these past 2 months, so you pick it up.
Huh.
Yeah, they have a similar look to it.
Interesting. Yeah. It annoys me that the keyboard in the image is wrong.
Yeah, that's one sure way to tell that it's an AI image. They get strings wrong, they get keyboards wrong, they get weird things wrong. So
I could fix it. I could add some extra black keys here. Anyway, so I used the default synth template by David Healy, but I made some adjustments. For example, the oscillators are not sine waves or things, but things called trapezoid. And one of them is slightly detuned. And they are synced with each other because otherwise they don't sound as good.
Is this in stereo?
Yes, it is in stereo.
Okay, because
Skype
is mono, so...
Oh, okay. But I'm gonna show you how it stereos. You noticed that the volume is... there is a difference between the right and the left channel, right?
Do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's random. It never stays the same.
All right, cool.
Now let's see what's going on here. First, I showed you the oscillators. Now let's see the effects. The first one is a script effect. Look, this crazy thing right here. So this is essentially how the whole thing started. While looking through the templates, I found it. Sorry, there it is. I found a template that splits the sound into mid-side. At first, I used an impulse response that I created myself using this script. I think I've showed it before. By Amalgama, create impulse response of the FX chain of the selected track. And I loaded 2 instances of the free VST wider, set to 100, not 2000, because it has a different effect when you place 2 instances with 100% together. What this does, in case you don't know, is a stereo widener, but it's using a special kind of comb filter that was created by the band Infected Mushroom. So the oscillator is mono, but with this one it creates a fake stereo widening effect, which I like because I wanted to create a fake stereo before I could split it into mid-side, right? Because if you split a mono sound into mid-side, what's the point, right? Next, we can see here the 2 chains that I used. In the mid channel, I have a Moog filter, not very special. I just smoothed out some of the high frequencies. And in the side chain, that sounds not to be confused with side chaining. I used a bit crusher. It does emit a DC offset, which I have removed with this single EQ right here. And between the EQ and the script, we have 2 effects. This is a saturator, which is pretty nice. This is without. Also, I should demonstrate the mid-side effects as well. Even in the mono, I think you will listen to the difference. So this is without the bit crusher and the Moog. And in the saturator, you may have noticed that I have done this trick where you overload the gain and then you turn it down in post, because otherwise it's gonna sound different. So by running it hot, you get some more interesting tones. Also, I made an LFO, but I'll show it at the end. And finally, we have a wave shaper, and this is also very interesting. You have all these shapes. The square one is nice. And also the saturate. Oh, sorry, that was the loudest one. But the curve gives me the nicest balance overall. There's also a bit crusher, which creates this ugly effect. It sounds like remember when you placed the speaker of your Game Boy on your ear? That's how it sounds like. And it's kind of reactive to the notes that you play. Yeah. There's also a note again, which is surprising. And the bias, which I'm not gonna use because it's super annoying. Even in mono, it's gonna drive you guys crazy. And the limiter. And finally, let's play with the LFO. So this thing is using a modulator to tweak the wet-dry knob of the saturator. So it's creating a tremolo or vibrato or whatever. No, it's a tremolo, right? It's modulating the volume, not the pitch. And it's similar to the tremolo that was used in Game Boy. And of course, I can tweak the amount. I haven't added the knob for this in the GUI, but I will soon.
I've just understood that user interface looks similar to Melda production plugins.
Oh, thanks. That's a huge compliment because I really like Melda Productions. Let's go back to the interface. There you go. Yeah, yeah, it does look similar to Melda, but I think this template was created by David Healy. But yeah, the knobs look very similar to the Melda ones because they are the default HISE ones. I wonder if Christoph Hart was inspired by Melda. Oh, there is an effects knob here. So this is how it sounds without the tail. So yeah, the auto gain does wonders. Otherwise, you guys would be deaf right now.
Thanks that you're caring about us.
This LFO is different from the one I showed you. It just works with the MIDI values, I think. And so yeah, this is. I'm very happy with this, and once I will be able to crash all the errors and file fix it, I'm gonna ship this one. Nice. And I'm gonna post it on my Crispy Samples coffee page. I already have some stuff here. I have a sample pack called Voice of the Glitch, featuring glitched out recordings of my voice. You can get a free taster pack or the full pack for $10. And finally, I wanted to show you this, which I just discovered a few minutes before the stream started, and this is gonna be my homework for next time. The SFZ to HISE translator converter, because HISE does have a built-in SFZ loader, but it's very rudimentary, and I think it doesn't load SFZ version 2, which I need, because I want to load the splendid grand piano samples, which are public domain samples created by Akai, and I want to create an HISE instrument based on those samples. I have the mappings, but I want to load them here. And it's pretty fun. I'm gonna post this to the chat as well.
Nice.
And finally, I'm gonna go back to Reaper. I wanted to show you something about the last time I mentioned that there has been finally a person who is porting Air Windows stuff to JSFX with different names, but you can get this right here. And I'm gonna be working with this person. I'm gonna send him some of my ideas on how to create new and interesting JSFX based on this. Because remember, I don't know if you have seen Psyche's monitoring utility. Have you seen this thing?
I don't remember seeing this one, no. What does it do?
Yeah, I think it's a new one. But cool. You can actually route your output to wherever you want. You can create a mid-side effect if you want. You can use a dim to reduce volume by 15 dB. You can use different outputs, also headphones. And you can actually split the low frequencies into a subwoofer if you have one. And if you select the headphone mode, the subwoofer mode is disabled, which is a nice bonus. And also you can hold the shift button if you want to create multiple outputs. This is probably a bug. I don't know what happened here.
But this is a plugin, yes?
Sorry?
Is this a plugin?
It's a JSFX plugin. Yes, it runs only on Reaper. or in
These
YSFX.
plugins have access to the hardware outputs and inputs. Is it possible from JSFX? Yeah.
It's just the outputs and inputs that Reaper gets, as you can see here. It created already some custom outputs, as you can see here. And you know that one of the Air Windows best plugins is monitoring, which casually doesn't have an interface. I'm gonna show it real quick, and I'm gonna work with the creator of RIA Classical if we could port monitoring and give it a fancy GUI like the one Psyche made. So these are the final output stages, which you get dither. You have peaks only, which is an effect that makes you listen to the peak energy more easily, especially if you're wearing headphones. A slow only that only listens, it's a high pass that only allows you to listen to the extreme highs. The subs only that also makes you listen to the very low frequencies, and mono mix, side mix, an EQ that sounds like a vinyl, an ORAT that sounds like a grout box, those little mix checking speakers that are monophonic. You can actually mono it in a left and right channel. Another EQ that sounds like a phone speaker. And these four settings are crossfeed, which is blending the signal similar to how the sound blends with each other when you're playing back on speakers, which is useful if you only have headphones like me. And finally, the voice trick, which is a trick used by Peter Gabriel, where when you want to record vocalists without headphones, so you place the microphone exactly between the two speakers in a specific angle, and this thing is emitting the sound, but I think it makes it mono and flips the phase on one channel. So when you record the vocalist and then you play back the sound with the instrumental, it cancels it out and you only listen to the vocalist's voice. Anyway, so this is gonna be also my homework, if we can port this to JSFX.
That little trick, I think it was in the post by Chris from Air Windows explaining this, that sometimes they would have to spend hours or days just positioning the microphone. I think that's crazy. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, what happens if you bump into the microphone or into one of the speakers? Then people are not going to be happy
fire
with
the
you.
Vocalist. Get out of here.
That's crazy.
This this is a bit funny, actually, because I've been working on stuff like this. But are you done, Fotis? Can you?
Yes, I'm done. I'm gonna. Okay. Unless the repack shows me something very interesting right now. Let's see. Let's see. Do we have something? Come on, give me something. Come on.
How often do you go through this dance and try to find new toys?
Every 10 minutes. Oh, we have a new RIA in GUI. Thanks, X-Rain. Okay, I'm stopping. Please continue, Bo.
Yeah, the cool thing is that I've been working on stuff like that as well.
The goniometer.
The sort of monitoring thing that both the one by Psyche and the Air Windows thing. Mm-hmm. This started with someone in the Discord forum mixing. A couple of guys, they were discussing how to mix on a mono speaker. So let's see. So this is correct. So I made this. You can pick stereo, mono, side, and then route it to a different speaker. So either stereo, left or right.
And you named it Monolith.
Yeah, Monolith.
Monolith.
So since there's no stereo in Skype, I'm just going to do the visual for it. Bum, bum, bum. And so mono looks like that. What I've done here, if you do it like 100%, I've mixed in a bit of the original signal, so this the band here gets wider. So that's the left channel and that's the right channel. But what I've also done, which I don't think any other speaker or sort of monitoring plugin has, is this thing that does the exact opposite of stereo.
Well,
which you can show like this. And the reason why I'm showing you guys this is because this gave me an idea, and that's for a widener.
oh,
So I used that last bit I showed you from monolithic, and then
What does it even mean? What does it mean to be the opposite of stereo?
Maybe that's not the best way to describe it. So what it does, it subtracts the right channel from the left and the left channel from the right. So it's not like the regular stereo matrix, that sort of mid-side matrix that's used in mid-side processing. So you completely remove the mono or the mid signal, because in a regular mid-side matrix it doesn't do that. There's still some side information in the mid and some mono information in the side, but the matrix works for processing. So you can encode the matrix and then decode it after processing. But you can't do this with this. Once you've done it, you don't get it back. But what happens?
Well, hang on. If you subtract
sure.
left from right and subtract right from left, you are guaranteed to have two signals that are exactly flipped polarity, right?
Nope.
Yes, you do. That's going to be my counter argument. Yes, you do.
Yeah, did we discuss this before? I know I've had this discussion before, but it doesn't. If you the example that I was thinking of, if you have like 3 and 4, 3 is left, 4 is right. You subtract 4 from 3, you get -1. If you subtract 3 from 4, you get +1.
Yeah.
But
that's what I said. It is flipped polarity.
But if you like, sure. But let's say like 5 and 4. So you subtract 5 from. You need to do a different one. Let's do 3 and 5. You subtract. No. What the?
By the way, I posted the link on the chat for a plugin that I found on KVR that's called True Midside, and you can read the description. It's very interesting, although the plugin is kind of expensive for what it does, in my opinion. But I think it solves some of your questions on how you do proper mid-side. It actually has his own algorithm for extracting mid-side, which is different from the one that we know, because it's separating the phantom center and the stereo like this.
Okay. Are we in agreement that left minus right and right minus left are the same except for the polarity?
We're kind of stuck.
And I guess, what's the next thing? Once you have all these two signals, what's the next step?
Bo, can you talk? Is the microphone on?
Bo is crying there. He's doing something.
Is your microphone turned off?
Yeah, Bo, we don't hear you.
Maybe your microphone is running through Reaper and the effects that you are demonstrating triggered auto mute.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, we still can't hear you, Bo.
Looks like problem somewhere else.
It's funny because we see you typing the message. Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
Tail is here on the chat saying that the polarity argument that I made holds water. And I'm okay with that, because I guess the interesting thing is what you do next, right? The mid-side conversion, for instance, is never the interesting part of anything. It's what you do with the mid and the side that become interesting again.
Oh, and I wanted to add something about the whole monolith thing, because it's funny that today both my and Bose and Cwits stuff have some things in common in regards to the mid-side processing and also the monolithic thing, because HISE does use a monolith architecture. In sample libraries, the monolithic structure is when you place all of the samples inside one archive. And while the non-monolithic is when you have all the samples laid out, like in SFZ. So SF2 format, which is the sound font, is monolithic. And you can also do it with contact. You can do both stuff, both monolithic and non-monolithic. And HIC, I think you can do only monolithic in its own format.
And what are the advantages and disadvantages of samples in these two formats or architectures?
Yeah, the main advantage is that it allows you to do a better compression, all the files in one. The disadvantage is that sometimes I like having all the samples laid out. For example, in SFZ, I may only want to drag one of the WAV files in my DAW instead of having to load the entire sample library at once. So yeah, there are both pros and cons with this approach.
Interesting. I never thought about this parallel. When it comes to architecting software, I tend to prefer monoliths. But when it comes to files, I kind of like having separate files. I like how in Reaper you just get an RPP file and you can organize your waves and videos in however way you see fit. I like that a lot. And it's not the case in Logic or Ableton. They try... It kind of boils down to the same thing. It's kind of a folder with a bunch of project files and a bunch of audio files. But in Reaper, it's more like in your face. And I kind of like that.
Wait, you mean that with the RPP file, you can actually have files anywhere outside the RPP?
Yeah, the RPP file is a text file, and then you have to have your media files in some other file.
Yeah, in Ableton, you can do that as well. And then if you want, you can... you have two options: to either save your project or to select the option that says collect all and save. So it creates duplicates of any samples that you may have used inside the project folder. And I think you can do that with Reaper as well. There is a meme that says Reaper can do that already. You're familiar with that meme, right?
Well,
every time
it is an
DAW
Emacs
announces.
thing. Yeah, Emacs can do that.
So Bo is struggling with the audio again.
Yeah. I have to say, my setup is janky. My camera doesn't look good. My audio doesn't sound good. But it is so refreshing to have everything just work. Because when I have external microphones, external camera, external everything misbehaves. I have to reconnect stuff. I have to turn it off and on again. And when I am streaming with just a laptop, everything just works. I don't have to do anything. I can trust the system. It just works. It is awesome.
Yeah, and I have a meme especially for that. Hold on, I'm gonna find it. Because it's oh, one sec. So yeah, the brother, Billie Eilish's brother, Phineas, he used a bedroom studio to record Billie Eilish's first album. It was very DIY, and he said on Twitter, "I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna censor the bad words." He said, "Tell me that it's difficult to record an album in a bedroom studio, but I swear every time I go to a fancy recording studio, it takes them an hour just to find the aux cord."
Yeah, right. There's something to be said about simplicity. Anyway, yeah, so it seems like Bo is not coming back with his microphone today, which is sad because I was interested in this whole widening thing. It is something that I really know very little about. And even the goniometer, is that how you say it? I don't really think I know how to read what it's saying. It is kind of weird to me. So I would be interested in learning more about this. So make sure you bring this up next meeting, Bo. And I am
I should bring it up as well.
What you do with this new arrangement of signals that you have.
HISE also gives, I forgot to show it, I'll show it next time, but HISE also allows you to see the synth or sampler that you're using with a spectrum analyzer, an oscilloscope, and a goniometer. So I'm going to show this next time.
Nice.
Well,
yeah.
Maybe I'm going to learn how to read it as well.
Yeah, I know, I think it's like playing chess. I know how the pieces move in the board, but I don't know how to play chess, you know? Same thing with the goniometer. If you explain to me like the technical details, I know that part. But when I am doing something like I have a mix or I am mastering, it's kind of a joke for me to say that I'm mastering something. But if I am doing something like that, I'm not really sure I know how to get any meaningful information from that meter. Anyway, so I guess it is my turn.
Just showing the difference between the speakers, I think.
Yeah, but when is it saying that I should widen things or that I may have some mono compatibility issues? That's the part that I don't know.
Yeah, we need to
I need to learn that. So perhaps that's something I can do for next meeting, and then I can explain how to read that freaking thing.
Great.
Yeah, but for this meeting, I don't have much, but I do have something. I started reading. I have two things that I want to recommend. That's basically what I want to do, because I haven't really worked on C++ myself. Shame on me. The two things that I want to recommend are first a YouTube channel, the Cherno, and I think that if people are interested in C++, they probably know this channel already, but he does a great job at explaining the concepts, and I like how the videos are about one topic. So it's not like the kind of tutorial that is 4 hours long teaching you how to build a project. It is like, what does the static keyword do? Or why would I want to use one feature versus the other? Like, should I use auto or not, depending on the context? That sort of thing. So for those like bite-size kind of nuggets of knowledge, great channel, the Cherno. I will add it to the list of links for this meeting. And the other thing is I started reading a paper that we mentioned a while ago, but it wasn't in the study group. It was in another stream. We were doing a pitch detector, and there is this paper, this algorithm that many people use. It's the WIN or IN, like in yin and yang, YIN. And I started reading the paper. The reason why I want to bring this up is that it is a very well-written paper. And it's not often that you find papers that are relatively straightforward to follow along with. It's still math heavy, and it is kind of focused on speech, finding the pitch of speech, which is significant in some languages. And still, it is useful for music applications as well. It's just that like the measurement section of that paper is all about speech. And for the most part, we are not exactly interested in that. But still, interesting stuff, and it's a paper that you can actually follow along and understand what they are saying, which is not always the case in academic writing. So I wanted to shout out that paper. It's a very good one. I will add a link to it in the description as well. And I guess the next step is for me to try and implement something from that paper, because we do have this idea of combining a pitch detector with a pitch shifter and try to do some real-time tuning of stuff. That could be kind of fun. We already have a rudimentary pitch detector and we have a rudimentary pitch shifter. So just putting the two together sounds like an interesting thing to do. So that's the plan, not necessarily in C++. We were doing it in JSFX before. We'll see. And that's the extent of my of my contribution for these 2 weeks, which is not a lot, but it is something. And I guess for next time, what I want to promise is that I will write some C++. I'm not sure in which project. I may do some automixer, or I may do that other loopback device kind of thing that I'm interested in doing for macOS. We'll see. But the promise is that I will start streaming more often and I will write some actual C++.
Awesome.
I said it. I promised to the world that I'm going to do something, so I better do it.
Oh, yeah. Bo, are you back? Is your microphone back? Oh. I
heard a click from him.
Yeah, and I saw that the microphone turned off icon appeared from his name.
Yeah, I saw
but
that too.
we still can't hear him.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Whoa.
you're back.
Welcome back.
So, do you want to continue the thing? Do you want to show us the thing you were working on?
Looks like he disappeared again.
Oh no, we lost Bo.
It was like that time when we were streaming and suddenly the power on my apartment turned off.
Yeah, it seems like Bo's audio died for some reason. That's what he said on the chat. So I guess we are gonna leave this for next time. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Amazing.
So what did you want to know, Leandro?
Yeah, so I want to hear more about what the thing you are doing. Like here comes the wide. I want to learn how that works.
Oh yeah, so I'm feeding a part of that sort of subtracted signal back into the signal, left and right signal. So this is what it looks like on the goniometer. I call it the goniometer. But what were you curious about? You had some questions about the goniometer, what it does?
Well, I know what the lines represent and I know what the dots represent.
Yeah.
But in like a useful context in mixing and mastering and that sort of thing, I cannot make sense of what I see. I cannot just look at the meter and say, oh, I need more stereo width, or I will have a monocompatibility problem. This graph doesn't say anything meaningful to me. That's the question I have. Okay.
I'm not an expert on goniometers, but this makes it wider. So this is the sides. So left, right. As if it was completely mono, it would look like, no, it would look like this. So this is completely mono, but you know that, right?
Yeah, that I know. I know what the lines and the dots represent. And I just don't know how to use it.
Where is the relative position of listener in that diagram? Or it doesn't exist there?
So there's no. I don't think there's like any. This is an electrical signal. It's not acoustic.
No,
Acoustic interpretation. So, but you have if you were headphones, this would be like left-right headphone, and
actually, just looking at the graph, I have another evidence of the thing I was talking about. Mm-hmm. The horizontal line means these two things will cancel out in mono.
I guess, yeah.
And they will cancel out in mono because they are, and you can see that in the meter below showing the correlation. It is exactly 180 degrees out of phase. So yes, the two signals are the same, polarity flipped.
Yeah, I stand corrected.
By the way, the correct name is goniometer because gonia means corner in Greek.
Ah.
Goniometer. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So there's your
so it's a Greek word.
Gonio.
Yes,
gonio.
Okay. But so what this thing is doing is it's introducing that left-right out of phase thingy. Plus, I've added a low pass for it. Mm-hmm. So strictly using, you get a sharp edge. This is the regular stereo signal. So it's a white noise, stereo white noise, and I'm widening it, but it's to sort of blur it and make it not as sharp, I guess.
Wait, is the low pass being applied to the whole thing or just the side channel?
Just the added signal. That's the thing.
Okay.
I tried a couple of different other ways and it didn't sound as good. I actually finished this afternoon, so I've only tried it on drums and stuff. But I should. I'm going to try it on mixes as well. But so that's what I've been working on. I have not been working on the distortion and not the compressor. I'm so sorry.
But I love how creative you are with this. I still don't know where your ideas come from because they're always out of the box, and I love it. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Thanks, I guess. Thank you. So that's it for me.
All right. Sounds good. So I guess this is a perfect place for us to wrap up. And yeah. So thank you to Tail and everyone else who's watching this. Thank you, Fotis, Bo, and Cwits. I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. I will have some C++ to show you. It will be amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. And
thank you, guys. Thank you, Taylor, for helping out, as always.
Yeah.
And I'll have a cool new thing.
You should be on the stream.
Yeah, I hope you all get better from the COVID stuff. And yeah, we will be streaming more regularly. I still don't know what the schedule is going to look like, but it will be more regular, so stick around. All right. Good. Have a good one. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for watching the stream. You know how great it has been. Or maybe it sucked, and I am glad that you stuck with me. And so we'll all be back together for some more coding or talking or chilling. The next time I'll be streaming.